How bad is the 5G? It's so bad they're desperately trying to bury the evidence, just like the vaccines. With the vaccines, at first they told us it was safe and effective, and then we found out that there were 10 pages of basically the worst side effects known to mankind. And then they tried to bury that information for 50 years. They didn't want you to know what was in it for 50 years. Well, it's basically like that with the 5G, if not worse, because you can opt out of vaccines, but you can't opt out of this 5G technology that's basically everywhere. We're surrounded by this radiation, and it's much worse than you can possibly imagine, as we're going to discover with this Department of Defense report titled Radio Frequency Microwave Radiation Biological Effects and Safety Standards. This is from the Air Force, from the Rome Laboratory in New York, Air Force Base, and it's got the chain of custody documents. It's official, and it goes through all of the diseases that are linked to microwave radiation, and it's shocking. I mean, it causes mutations. It's all the stuff that you know, but more. Heart attacks, strokes, neurological effects, effects on the immune system. It's like, what doesn't this affect, basically? It prevents the cells from basically eliminating toxins from the body. It allows toxins to more readily enter the cells. It affects the immune system. It affects the heart. Everything causes cancers. By the time you get to pathological effects, it becomes clear that this technology is neither safe or effective. They were testing mice for 4.5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, for 59 weeks, and they observed a 35% cancer rate in the white blood cells, leukemias, 35% versus 10% in the control group. And it's like this throughout this study, this paper, this report. Another study, 500,000 people, and it basically links power lines to leukemia, effects on the chromosomes. It basically causes chromosome deletion, chromosome gaps, so on and so forth. And this is even at radiation frequencies that are like the Wi-Fi, 2.5 megahertz or 2500 megahertz, which is 2.5 gigahertz. This is what microwave ovens use, and this is what your Wi-Fi uses, 2.5 gigahertz. Cancer. It causes deletion in the chromosomes. It suppresses the metabolic pathways or the metabolic activity inside the cells. It basically breaks down the cell membranes, making them more permeable to toxins and exosomes. It makes exosomes. It lets exosomes spread more readily, or viruses, if you will. And this is all basically at the 2.5 gigahertz range, 2.9, 2.5, et cetera, et cetera. And these are at rates that people can be exposed to in the urban environments. Lymphomas, blastomas, you name it, all sorts of cancers and the like. But then when it gets to the cardiovascular effects, that's when it gets really shocking. And in this report and another report from the Department of Defense, basically we're looking at, here, let's see if we can read this, quote this. Animal experiments reported in the open literature have demonstrated the use of low-level microwave signals to produce death by heart seizure or by neurological pathologies. So basically a heart attack gun. Low levels. Open literature. Back in the day before it got all political and before it became a multi-billion-dollar industry. Back in the day when, AT&T didn't really care about these types of reports, they were saying in the open scientific literature before it got all woke that even low levels of microwave signals can produce death. Not just heart palpitations or anything like that. Death by heart seizure. So when that happens to a person, what do they say? What do they say on the report? Natural causes, climate change, sudden and mysterious, right? Low levels. It says right here, this is a 1974 document. And it talks about the Soviets, Poland and the like. It's the same genre of this other document, and I'm pretty sure it's the same study that's in the citation. And so we'll provide a copy of this report in our Telegram feed in the comments. But basically, it just goes on and on and on. It affects the blood, how it affects the blood, leukemias, cancers, etc. The nervous system, it just fries your brain, fries the nerves, and the like. And so there's just a long list of diseases and complications, and it affects smell. You get headaches, irritability, increased fatigue. Does this sound familiar? When they rolled out the 5G and people were getting the COVID, people were losing their sense of smell. They had like this, chronic fatigue, right? Remember that? So this is the Pentagon report. Now listen to the dude from the Pentagon tell you the same thing.
The symptoms of acute radiation sickness would be just exactly like a terrible flu. Person would have a headache. They would feel very tired. They would have a little bit of...
they would feel very tired. They would have a headache. Exactly like this report. So this isn't like conjecture. This isn't like some kind of like theory. This is scientific fact. They know that this technology causes all sorts of diseases, and they're hiding it from you, burying it, censoring, silencing the evidence, and, basically like, making fun of people, just like during the pandemic. Oh, you don't want the vaccines. Oh, everything about the masks, et cetera, et cetera. They refuted common sense. They refuted science in the name of their woke politics, and many people died. And it's the same thing with this technology. It's beyond atrocious. And this is just like casual exposure. You can't imagine what it's like getting hit with energy weapons, because that's the new next thing, energy weapons. And it's why we continue to talk about this book, Transhuman Genocide. It talks all about directed energy weapons. It talks all about, the agenda to basically kill people with this technology, because this is now their thing. They don't want to just, get rid of you with vaccines. They're taking people out with these death towers, and basically low levels can cause heart attacks, strokes, cancers, and the like, and it's basically untraceable. They have plausible deniability the whole way as they bury and silence and censor the evidence. It's basically like an outrage. But until, people rise up and take down these death towers, you basically have to protect yourselves and your family and your friends and your pets and everything. And they're going to come after you just for being a conservative and a pureblood, according to weapons experts, government insiders, and the like, and victims online that are screaming about this thing. And even 60 Minutes is doing, report after report on, directed energy weapons, Havana syndrome, and they're like, oh yeah, the Russians did it. It's not the Russians. It's AT&T, Verizon, and the like. It's the deep state. It's the NSA. It's the libtards, because they control all of this technology. Conservatives aren't writing these programs. Conservatives aren't bringing us this technology. It's all libtards, and they're looking at us like we're the enemy. And they're at war, and they're using these cell towers to kill people. This is a fact. Anyone that's experienced electronic attacks from cell towers will tell you, this stuff is real. And it's why, this book covers not only the weapons, but also the solutions. How to make a safe room, how to make body armor, how to make real, military-grade EMF protection that will save you from what's happening and what's to come, because it's only going to get worse as they try to assimilate everyone with their transhuman technology. Come get your brain chip. So you really want to check out this book, Transhuman Genocide. It's on Amazon. You can read a free sample, a couple chapters, and see for yourself, is it worth it? You can get the Kindle version, you can get the soft cover version, you can get the PDF version on our Patreon page, patreon.com/STF News. So get a copy of this thing. We've made it dirt cheap so that people can basically understand what's going on. Books like this can run up to $1,000 on Amazon. We've made it basically free in comparison. And so it's not about the money. It's about getting the message out, how people can protect themselves from these weapons. This book represents years of research and field testing. Research from the top research papers, top minds in electromagnetism, from universities that are basically talking about, EMF shielding for various radiation sources, and of course AI research from ChatGPT and the like, and field testing by the Human Resistance. These methods work that are in this book, and you can find it on Amazon. Transhuman Genocide. Figure out what is happening out there before you become a victim of this climate change, of this transhuman Agenda 21, 2030. You're going to eat bugs. You will own nothing. They're trying to kill everybody. And unless you protect yourself in this asymmetric war, you're going to be a victim. And many people have already been killed already, people that you know. So this is not a joke. These weapon systems have been integrated into the smart city network. They're everywhere. Weapons experts are confirming this. It's in the LED lights. It's the cell towers. It's the smart meters. It's the routers and things that you can't even see. And it's basically, the weapon system is basically embedded at the factory level or hacked in by the NSA. It's beyond imagination. Check out that book, Transhuman Genocide. Until the next time, if you're listening